Damn, we're live. We're back again. I hope everyone's doing well and safe. Appreciative to you lot tuned in. If you're on YouTube, please make sure you're smashing the like button. If you're on Twitch, one love. As usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. How you lot doing, people? I suppose if you support any Premier League team apart from Arsenal, with a slight exaggeration, you're quite bullish. You know, certain teams are talking about Vert, some people are talking about Rangers and Turkey, this one, that one, the third, even Chelsea. Arsenal was still... Well, really, we're just talking about Šeško and Gyökeres, and for all the talk about we want this one and that one and Berta this and Arteta that. I know on the back burners things are probably going on, but and even throw in Zubimendi. You want to hear bids have been agreed, medicals are scheduled, etc., man. We really are Netflix FC sometimes on all aspects. But as usual, appreciative to having you lot tuned in. Big up you lot wherever you are, man. And yeah, man, comment, subscribe, ask some questions. You lot make the live platform what it is, bro. We are so boring. Sometimes boring is good, man. It is what it is. Breaking news, Turkey, El Nouri and Rangers done, but we are exploring. We are interested. But look at this guy, Marcel. The big dog signing players while the puppies are watching. Listen, just cool, man. There's a long way to go. Just cool, man. Make sure these guys bang, because I'm a big fan of Rangers. Agendas immediately. I'm a big fan of Verts. Agendas immediately. And so on at Turkey. I'm shameless. Agendas immediately. Big up yourself, Edward. Into the box. One love, my killie, man. Arsenal window shopping in the transfer market. Okay, this guy, man. You wouldn't think he's a mod. Big up DJs. Always like the video, people. Sadiq, come on, man. You're here all the time, man. I appreciate you. And as Marcel has said here, people, I'm quite conscious of the way I say that word now, you lot. I wouldn't say insecure about it, but it's like, right, do I really say that in some sort of way? I don't know, man. I don't know how we got here, but we did, innit? Like, if I don't hear that, I hear it really and truly, and it is what it is. I guess as a human being, you're not conscious of you repeating these things. But yeah, man, some of you are part of the family. And if you're new here, join the revolution. I believe it when I see it. Other than that, we are slow and boring in the transfer window. Yeah, but at least we have an opportunity to speak. A man said, this mug DG has another channel, and I didn't know. Yeah, I do have another channel. It's pinned to the chat. It's time to take that seriously, man. I'm going to kind of make that more like when I cut up clips, and mainly when I talk about other clubs, man, really and truly, and mix and match, man. What's up? New subscriber here, big dog. 38, appreciate you. DG, thoughts on Mora? Assuming you're talking about the Porto lad. Quality individual. The sky's the limit. I won't say he's an outsider for the Portuguese World Cup squad, but probably a wild card, can play in a couple of roles. Very good dribbler, good eye for goal. Quality player, man, really and truly. And when Porto, I did it again. When Porto want to sell him, it's big bucks. I'll be surprised if he hasn't signed a new deal. Or isn't in the process of signing a new deal. Big player, man. He's 18, already outshines Odegaard in attack, defense, and versatility. Can play both wings, 10 and 6. Compare his stats in the last 2 seasons to Odegaard's. I wouldn't play him as a 6, but all the other roles I'm on that. It's just going to cost a pretty penny. And I'm not saying you're wrong, because I'm with you, 38, in that. Bring him to the carpet, but striker, whether you go for Šeško, who we're led to believe is more expensive actually than Gyökeres. So that's, if we believe reports, it's anything, let's say from 60 to 90, probably anything from 50 to 60 odd for Gyökeres. You throw in the 50 odd million for Zubimendi. I don't know how much goalies are going to cost, but probably need a goalie and another defender, probably need a left winger. Now, he is a great player, but do we have the budget? I guess, like, if we do all of that business and we get some outgoings, I'm all for it, man. But it just feels like for us to have any optimism about that, we need to do all our business and be prepared to front up the cash. You never know, though. Maybe. I wonder how much they value Fabio Vieira, because surely Fabio Vieira can knock some money off the price. DG, don't be shocked if we don't sign anyone until the 1st of July. This club runs as a business first, with Kroenke's at the helm. If we sign anyone, we have to register it as part of the 2024-25. I hear that, and obviously, I know Marcel's running jokes and whatnot, but he's a serious guy. When we get away from that, obviously, I don't want to start crying, etc., about our signings not there, because I'm sure whether the signings come in, whether they work or not, but all of these guys are probably working. But as a fan, you're seeing Liverpool at the pinnacle in the Premier League. The only way is literally down from top spot. They're making moves and probably giving Onslaught now the summer that him and their fans were owed last year. Chelsea are always signing players, but they're making movements. Man United, again, cool. They're 17th. We don't necessarily, quote unquote, need to worry about them. They're rebuilding, but it's a statement. Best of the rest is something that served Sir Alex Ferguson very well. Best of the rest Premier League players. Mbeumo and Cunha instantly upgrades them. Again, for all of these signings we're talking about and that we signed, they sound good on paper. Not everyone's going to work out. Obviously, signing people's half the job, but everybody's making movements, and we need to get it bang on. Like, Again, and the one thing I'll say is I would ideally like people in before preseason, but I'll shut my mouth to the end of the window. You lot know that you can't have another summer like you did last year or January. Mikel Arteta, again, I think you've quote unquote potentially dug your own grave if it goes negatively, because I do think from January to this point, every month that's gone on, you've been more bullish and bullish and bullish about signings. And as we closed out the Premier League season, he was less diplomatic, and he was talking with chest, like he was kind of sticking it on the board. He was saying, I get goosebumps, it's going to be exciting. Surely I'm not saying we're going to go sign Messi and that, but surely you only come out with that if you're crystal clear that things are going to be done. And again, if things are not done, then it tells me all I need to know. I look at last summer is one frustrating thing. January, I look at everybody sideways. Arteta's got plenty of questions, but I won't blame you for not signing people in January, because you did push that boat out. I feel sorry for the players. Declan Rice was begging. I more look at the establishment. The summer, I more look at Edu and Mikel Arteta. But again, we're all in this together. If we don't leave this summer transfer window with a proper striking option, a proper left wing option, feeling like we have more depth, then it is what it is, really. And at this moment in time, we need to make more of a meal where the Premier League is concerned. I personally, again, it's only June, and we'll do predictions nearer the season starts. I have City down to win it. City are buying a bunch of players, Elton Ori. On the topic of my second channel, actually, I did a video kind of talking about the transfers of the other clubs, and I think this live stream, when it's done, will take you over there. Smash the like button. But they need to replenish the whole squad. El Nouri's coming, in the process of potentially coming in. They're still linked with Livramento. Rangers is probably a signature away from signing for them. Cherky's obviously there. Asterix, we don't know what other moves they're going to be making, and we know the bag of players they signed in January. So we need to get our shoes on, man. And in Berta, we trust you, but you, Mikel Arteta, everyone get their act together, man. Everyone get their act together. Please, Berta, do your thing and get us Gyökeres. Then move for a left wing 8 and a 10. Can't be doing with 4 centre defensive mids next season again, please. Imagine they're signing Verts and Rangers, and we're here signing. You're a madman. Others are signing for the Club World Cup. For us, I think first day of pre-season is our deadline. Past that, we start moving mad. I hear you, yeah. But then, how do you look at Man United then? Not that I even want to watch other teams and what they're doing, but United are not in the Club World Cup. United are not. Cunha's through the door, and Boehm will probably get that one over the line. But yeah, man, as long as I'll be happy and negative every day, and the more it goes on, we'll have stronger opinions. But just make sure September the 1st, or whenever that deadline is, that we've done everything we need to do. We need to get the big signings before July. Then I'll be happy. I hear you, man. Arsenal can sign 2 strikers, especially when now the young lad Oyedeji has been released. Squad has been added to. DG got a next channel. I'm here for that. Come on, my guy. You know what? Let me drop a link. We're gonna take that seriously a lot more now, man. Because as much as I like to talk about Arsenal and stuff, we like football here, man. We're fans of the game, so why not have a house for that, people? We are not signing 2 strikers. It's smart what Arsenal are doing. They want everyone to know we might sign Gyökeres or Šeško. This puts Arsenal in better negotiation positions. I hear you, yeah, but obviously, what is reported? How many times, like Cody Gakpo? At one point, it's all Man United, Man United, Man United. Where did he end up? My point is not to criticize Liverpool or Man United. My point is, what is said in the rumors and to us common fans and what's actually going on in the world of football are 2 very different things. I'm not saying you're wrong, Sadiq, but obviously a lot of these signings, they're not, I guess there's exceptions to the rule, but the vast majority of these signings, whether it's Verts over to Liverpool, Rangers to AC Milan, any transfer, I can't guarantee you because I'm just an armchair expert in it. But the minute that we saw David Ornstein and Romano and all these guys break the news, it didn't just happen today. Like some of these moves have probably been in the works for 6 to 12, maybe even 18 months in the making. Us with, assuming we get over the line, us with Zubimendi. My point of saying that is to say this: if you're in the working world of football, like Arsenal seem to be the front runners for Gyökeres and Šeško. Let's just say Man United, Liverpool, this one, that one, they all wanted him. Obviously, assuming for this example, you're trying to get those 2. You're speaking with Leipzig. You're speaking with these players. You kind of know where they're heading. So privately in the world of football, wherever Gyökeres ends up, and things can change, wherever Gyökeres is going, wherever Šeško is going, if you work within football, like all of these clubs, surely they know what's going on already. So everybody knowing their position, I don't feel in the business world it makes sense. Maybe to the fans, it gets a bit of excitement. Fans naturally shouldn't watch what other people are doing, but naturally we're seeing what Liverpool are doing, seeing what other clubs are doing, getting vexed and whatnot. So I don't know how far that one goes, man. Gyökeres going PSG. To be fair with you, be a good opportunity for him. And I mean, he's got a lot to consider. He's been linked with Arsenal. That's a good opportunity for him. Been linked with Man United, based on the club. That's a good opportunity for him. Been linked with Napoli. That's a good opportunity. Paris Saint-Germain, as you said. Chelsea have been linked. No one knows, man. I really don't know, man. I think we get Šeško and not Gyökeres. I'm cool with Šeško. I actually think he's a good player. I prefer Gyökeres, as I keep saying, and need to probably stop saying it now because I sound like a broken record. It just goes against the grain a bit. What you see is kind of what you get from Gyökeres. It's not always like, obviously he's 27. Like, you can still perform for about 5 years, but it's right now, it's goal time. That is a statement to me to say, okay, we know we flirted with the Premier League. We haven't got it over the line. We're more aggressive with that. And I think for Šeško, I feel sorry for him, or any young developmental player that signs for Arsenal, because I feel they'll obviously be the guys that paint unnecessary positives. They'll be the people attacking them. And then there'll be us in the middle that if you look at someone like Šeško, obviously you have to help us in the short and medium term, but you're more of a long-term signing. The club, you're going to cost more than Gyökeres. So the club have been scouting you for the best part of the year. You're going to cost a lot. People are going to want you to hit the ground running because in our pursuit of trophies, they can understand you're young, your form's going to fluctuate, yada, 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 but that's going to go against him. Šeško is one of them signings you probably had to have bought for Arsenal for it to be okay in the 2022-23 season. Since then, they're under pressure. And again, it's not even for me with the players. Arteta, if you want to do this rotating thing with Kai Havertz and Šeško, I hope it works out, because there needs to be questions answered for if trophies or a trophy doesn't arrive next season. Of course, we're live, my guy Nathan. Of course, we're live. Big up, yard bad man. We are the most boring team. We had 25 meetings with Šeško. I don't understand this BS. How's it going, DG? Hope you're well. I'm good, low fat, man. Appreciate you. Hope the dog's well and safe, man. Your picture always makes me laugh. That jersey's cold. Appreciate that. Gonzalo Ramos leaving PSG. Thoughts on him, DG? Not for me. I'd have him in the squad. If you go and get me a Gyökeres or a Šeško, I'd have him in the squad as part of it. I actually think, on the topic of him, I think I said this on my stream with Harry. Big up Harry, man. Yeah, big up Harry. I look at Luis Enrique. Obviously, Luis Enrique is doing the false nine thing with Dembele, and obviously Ramos is probably going to leave, but he still had that option of just quote unquote a cold-hearted traditional number 9 on the bench. And I think Mikel Arteta, I do think this season experience beyond the obvious. I think this is a learning curve for you. I'm not here for the learning on the job stuff anymore, but I think this year is a learning curve. And I feel there's been many times in the Premier League, in the latter stages of the Champions League, tactical decisions, tactical flexibility, trying things, whether it's Zinchenko getting an opportunity in midfield, doing things a bit too late. I feel experience has cost Mikel Arteta, where I look at someone, and I know he's found somewhat internal solutions. You know, Lewis Skelly's emerged. Whether Lewis Skelly would have got this game time if everyone's fit's another thing. Marino did a thing for us up front. But you look at Slot. Now, again, I can't tell you if on Slot, Liverpool fans or Liverpool as a football club were genuinely talking about winning the Premier League last season, right? Obviously, they went on a good run, and that became a reality, and they seized it to the end. But if they didn't win the league, and I'm pretty sure Liverpool fans still will be, and the club have done well in that they're actually bringing in, you know, immediate replacement for Trent. Wirtz is rolling, and you get where they're going. But on Slot, think about it. If you put yourself in his shoes, you're leaving. You're joining Liverpool Football Club after Jurgen Klopp. It's not the same, but it's like Emre coming in straight after Wenger or David Moyes straight after Ferguson. Them talismanic figures. You didn't give him the market he needed. He had to work with what he's got. One thing Klopp didn't do that Slot did. Gravenberch, we all know he's a quality player. You don't end up at Bayern Munich or come through the Ajax system or whatever. If not, made him a 6. Gravenberch says, I want to play 8. Made him a 6. Pivoted with some internal solutions. Now we're going to see a bit more of what Arne Slot's about. That's the kind of things Arteta needs to do. You look at Luis Enrique. Everybody knew about Ousmane Dembele's ability. He's been doing this since he's been at Rennes. But for all the talk about attitude problems and work rate and all of that, is he not doing that at PSG and more? And all those PSG players, like Arteta, you should be looking at PSG because you're nowhere near Luis Enrique, but you're quite similar in that. I don't think it's a bad thing, but both of them are control freaks. The difference with Luis Enrique is he makes sure you do the collective, but then he lets you shine individually. He clearly says to my attackers, you know you need to defend and all of those things, but I'm still going to put you in situations where you can do what you're paid for, score goals, assists, etc. Even when you look at their midfield, everybody with the physical, they're going to struggle physically against the Premier League sides. The most impressive thing beyond the obvious about Paris Saint-Germain is that midfield. Sometimes João Neves is the highest attacker, highest of the midfield. Sometimes Vitai is the deepest, and it's all mixing and blending. These are the kind of things You need to add to your game, man. Guys are panicking. We're only 4 days in the window. I'm usually the one panicking, seeing ops buying players. I hear you, mister, and I'm with you. I mean, I'm more just jealous. I'm not quite panicking, but I can understand it because last summer, that's one thing I'll give to anyone that's panicking. I don't advocate for it, but last summer, because everyone's like, surely. Calafiori dragged out, Marino dragged out, Garcia rumors went away. Cool. A lot of you were actually relaxed on a striker. I wanted a striker. A lot of people said Kai Havertz, and we all know who came in on deadline day. That's the one thing, and I hope the club know this, because again, God forbid, but if you sign nobody, if you sign all the Barcelona team from 2011, you need to win silverware. You lot are gonna live or die by what you're doing. So yeah, man, it is what it is. Just make sure you do what needs to be done. Yalmar was asked in an interview who he'd play for in the Prem, said Pep and Arteta. Are you chatting, or did he actually say that? Hey, Yalmar, come on, man. Anyone can do it in Spain. Can you do it here? Can you do it with our quote-unquote negative tactics? Yalmar, come over these sides, man. Don't worry about playing right wing. We're gonna make you a false nine. We're gonna play you in Odegaard's role. Come over here, man. Come over these sides. What Liverpool are doing, them players that can raise their levels are what we should have done last summer, and City aren't playing any games spent in Jan and are added now. But you think Pep Guardiola, after turning this Premier League into a Farmers League, getting pumped up like he did last season and all the question marks, you think he's not going to wreak absolute havoc on this Premier League? Crazy. Can see us signing Šeško, Hato, Gittins, trust me, and maybe that Palmer centre back. I mean, if we sign them and a Nico Williams and all these things, I've got no doubt that they can help us long-term and medium-term, and they can be players. But in terms of win now mode, if you go and grab Šeško, if you go and grab Nico Williams, they have to help us. But I don't look at them and think at the point of entry. They could in hindsight, but at the point of entry into our football club, I don't look at them like, wow, immediate. We're ready. In the same way I might, because of his age, I might look at Gyökeres, or at the time when we signed Declan Rice. Ain't no way for shifting Yalmar for his poorer counterpart in Saka. But you have no clue where Yalmar's development is handing. That man can play up front, he can play in the 10, and he can play off that right. And I guarantee you, yeah, he can play right wing and can do his thing. He will move from that position. He's crazy. He's absolutely mental. And again, you can rotate in and out. You know my tactical stuff. Hey, just because you won the Europa League rally, don't mean you can talk, you know. Relax. Early morning trigger. Shout out Rally, though. We need to let Berta work. They didn't bring in some mug. This is a serious spotting director. I hope so. And I don't want to hear no one say, if we are somewhat underwhelmed with the market, I don't want anyone to say, oh, Berta underperformed, let Arteta down. Even when people say, yeah, and I'm one of them, get Arteta the players he wants, so there's no excuse. I have to ask the question, yeah. How often the managers, even like City at Pep, he gets what he wants. How often the managers actually get everything they want? Like everything they want. Is that a fallacy? I don't know, man. Would you take Williams? Yeah. Yamal's better than Saka. I've said Yamal's the best player in the world, bro, for me. I'm not going to lie. We've seen this before. Why don't we learn? Arsenal supporters always say it's too early. They just open the transfer window. Then we end up with garbage players at deadline day. But I'm past the point of getting angry, you know. If that's what, who don't hear must feel, you know. If that's, God forbid, I'll be vexed as a fan. But if that's what you lot do as a club, you're telling me all I need to know, man. But football's a fickle sport. We'll be saying this. What if next week, I'm exaggerating, but next week we sign Yamal. It's all great. Everything's amazing. So we do have to take time. We do need to control ourselves. But we do need to be wary. And if I'm Arteta, I'm taking two men from their team, Kang Lee and Bacola. Again, I like Bacola, but in terms of win now mode, just being devil's advocate, if you get Nico Williams, Bacola, Šeško, do they really help us win the league immediately? Yeah, these could be players that do it, but I'm more looking at years in front, and which I'm not against future-proofing. But Arteta, Kroenke, all of you lot, you've made us flirt with success, getting a Premier League trophy, etc. No matter how much you plan for tomorrow, obviously there's even planning for tomorrow internally, or why would you be trying to give the Luis Skelly's, Wanyeri, Salibas, etc. new deals? You need to deliver. And I'm going to be honest, I want to be wrong. And again, we'll do reactions, well, previews to the season later on. But I think we're going to win the FA Cup next year. I'll hold my licks. I hope we win the League Cup. I hope we win the Prem. I don't think we're going to win the Prem. I don't think we're going to win the Prem, the champs. I don't think we're going to. Of course, I want to be wrong. So where does that put everything? And even me, based on what I'm saying, I sound like a hypocrite. But we need to do something, man. Everything this summer needs to make sense, man. DG, imagine the club surprise us and blows the bag on Izzat. It is dreams, bro. The Izzat thing's done now, man. It's done. It's done. Hey, big up Lumos. My guy, man. Big him up. Make sure you follow him on Twitch, man. Hey, my guy. Been missing. Arsenal got rid of Aubameyang and never signed a replacement. I think where everybody looks at Arsenal's team, yeah, not every signing's banked, but fair enough. Arteta, you know what you're doing with the goalies. Defense, you know what you're doing with the defenders. Midfield, it gets a bit muddy, fair enough. You did bring Partey. You are doing your thing with Declan Rice. I know he's not flavour of the month, but for 30 million, Odegaard somewhat worked out. Needs to get his act together. And there's a couple other exceptions to the rule. It's a bit cloudy, but I'll allow you. It's a mixed bag. The attack now is where, you know, ultimately, as Harry said on my live stream, well, the video we did, it's all fun and games, having field till XG possessions, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't convert it. Ultimately, put the ball in the back of the net. That's what wins games. You can come out and say, oh, we dominated possession and this and that, and we was the best team in the Champions League. I said, and I hear that, Arteta. Statistically, I don't agree, but I hear the logic. What I would ask you, Arteta, is now knowing what you said then and what PSG lifted, would you swap places? I'd ask Luis Enrique and you, Arteta. Luis Enrique has got to be smoking something funny if he would swap places with a manager who said we were the best team versus someone who's won the Champions League. I'll tell you, would swap it. Defense wins titles, which so far we haven't, but we've got a title winning defense or a quote unquote good defense. I think we need a couple of options there. I actually think some fans are crazy if they think we don't need another defender. Goals win games. And signing's only half the job, but there's so much evolution tactically, because what if Šeško, Gyökeres, Nico Williams, Isaac, this one, that one, they all line up for Arsenal right now, and we're amazing. Injuries were a theme of us last season, but I think people like to gloss over the fact that everything went rosy when everybody was fit. So there's a lot that this club needs to look at, how, you know, how we keep players fit and the rehab. I actually think players have pushed themselves to get back sooner rather than later and suffer setbacks. We need to look at the depth. We need to look at, obviously, who is really going to score the goals. Like, yeah, spread the goals around. And for the last 3 years, we've got 100. But again, if we want to go to a team that gets over the line, Saka is the only one you bet on. Who has Arteta really signed in the attacking ranks? That's been good. Trossard, really and truly. William was a dud. I'll allow you for Marquinhos, but that was a dud. Fabio Vieira was a dud. Who else is there? The best attackers we've seen under Arteta weren't bought by him, quote unquote. Aubameyang, you never bought him before, obviously, what happened. You never bought him. Even Pepe, you know, we had a bit of, when we won the FA Cup, it looked like his life changed before, obviously, he went. Martinelli was here already when he had that mad season. Shout out to Arteta for getting that out of him, but he was here already. Okay, you bought Odegaard, fair play. Saka was here already. Haven't seen too much football, quote unquote, from Nwaneri. He was here already. Who else was here? You get the point. This is where we need attackers now, man. They win games. And we need different ways of winning games. I'm sure if you ask Arne Slot over them 38 games, there were probably times where the tactics were shit, the players were shit, everything went out the window. And good players, whether it's down to Stardust or clinical guys, they just got them out of jail. You need to do that for at least 4 or 5 games over a 38-game calendar. We really need to review stuff. 14 draws. Some of that, maybe there's refereeing decisions. Maybe we didn't kill games. Maybe we didn't defend well enough. Maybe consequently, because of the injuries and the depth, we just simply never had the quality. There's so much that this club needs to review. And if you don't, nothing's going to change, man. I hope things are different with Berta. We act fast, decisive, and get the players early to get good pre-season and start strong next season. So far, signs are not great. DG, Gyökeres has been scoring a lot of goals than Šeško. Arteta is choosing ignorance over intelligence. I don't think that's fair. Pepe going with Tiana Trump is ultimately what cost him his Arsenal career. Just shows his decision-making on and off the field, but he's a stronger man than me, man. Damn, man. Boy, Pepe, man. I don't know who Tiana Trump is. I just saw it said there, man. Steven Bergwijn looking like from Team. What does your gal like Steve? Does your gal like Steven Bergwijn? Because I'm an Arsenal fan, but I clip her same way. Shit. Our progression in the Champions League indicates making it to the final. I hope they get this window right. I hope so, because what, Bayern Munich quarterfinal, semi-final the next year. I hope so, man. But I just feel at this moment in time, with Arsenal to win major honours, I think I think too many things that are out of our control has to go right. And I don't think that's the case. I don't like to look at life like that. I don't think we've fully exhausted everything we can control internally, having many different ways of playing, keeping people fit, adding that X factor, being able to break down low blocks, so on and so forth. There's nothing that we saw from August to May last season that we never knew the previous year, man. Why people think Gyökeres will hit the ground running? Anthony and Darwin Núñez flopped. Everything's a risk, man. The ultimate, you know what the funny thing is, N16? Everybody dissing Šeško. If he starts bagging goals, nobody cares. Gyökeres, it seems like a no-brainer. If he flops, the same people saying it's a sure-brainer. They will sit there and say, this is why you don't sign players from the Portuguese league. Football Mirror Society, people can be quite fickle, man. Everyone got all this ifs, buts, and maybes. They ain't signing ish. Pardon me, I've talked to my brother just now, Quinton Timber. He's coming. To be fair, we've been linked with his brother, but every now and again, we're linked with Timber's brother. I don't know whether to take much stock in it. Mods, please stop, get people to stop violating. Big up the 61 of you who've hit the like button. Come on, folks. What's going on? It doesn't cost a thing. There's a possibility Burton needs time to understand the requirements of the Premier League. We shouldn't have gotten rid of Hatto just yet. Gotten rid of Hatto, have we? We ain't got him. But we'll definitely get some signings wrong, obviously. But I mean, how far does that go? Because I know the Premier League's different to La Liga, but there's 11 players out there. The dimensions of the pitch are there. And outsider that's got nothing to do with Arsenal could see what Arsenal needs. So someone that's working in the footballing world, has all of that knowledge, needs to know what needs to be done. I don't feel we're going to do everything. Like, we're not going to flush out everything and bring in everything, and all the deals are going to be wrapped up in a matter of months. I feel sorry for Berta in that regards as well. But one thing I like about Berta is we've shown at this football club, unfortunately, an inability to pivot. You know, we haven't. Whatever we did last summer, whether it was Nico Williams, this one, that one, clearly we didn't pivot well enough, because you're running around for Raheem Sterling, where we was offered Raheem Sterling on deadline day, similar to for all the Ollie Watkins stuff in January. He was offered to us. We didn't go out there, rightly or wrongly, trying to go and find them. That's why ultimately I want to get, well, ideally I'd like Šeško and Gyökeres, but that's why I like the whole, what we're led to believe, you're tying up loose ends with several targets, so we're ready to maneuver, because everybody gets rejected. Everyone can't get their thingies, man, their top targets. A man said Prem bridesmaid always waffling. Riley, calm down. Like, how can we be? I've seen my team win the Premier League. You've never seen that with Spurs. Like, if we're bridesmaids, you lot have never been given a significant offer. Like, man. And this is why we need to pattern up, man, because these chickens keep clucking and we are clutching. We need Gyökeres. He shoots for fun. Rise up our trophy. We won the Champions League this year. Arsenal won the Champions League. Are you forgetting? I don't know what you're on. Gyökeres and Rodrigo is all I need. I want to be wrong, and by all means, hold me accountable. But we really like Rodrigo. I'll believe it when I see it. Really, it ain't happening, man. It's not happening. It's not happening. I would love Lookman, Gyökeres, De Cooper, and Eze. That's it. To be fair, actually, you just reminded me on something. There is some. Well, we'll get into it in a sec. I wouldn't say Lookman rumors, quote unquote, per se, but there is a little bit of isms and schisms where Lookman's concerned, so we can go over that. You just reminded me of that. He's been linked with Barca. Rodrigo going nowhere. It's big P's, bro, because you're gonna have to give them 80 to 100 million. God knows how much he's on at Real Madrid, and he's going to want top money here. Obviously, we've got other signings that need to happen. If you renew Partey's deal, if you renew all of the stars, it's big bread. Sorry. Big up DG. Almost every team has had a bad season after 3-4 years. Look at Liverpool when they finished 5th, and City this season. Do you think Arsenal could suffer from that next season? Everything's up for debate, because really and truly we should have finished, not that I'm happy to finish second, but we should have finished a lot lower than that. We was in that weird space, in that obviously we drew ourselves out and dragged ourselves somewhat into a top 4 battle, but we was in that weird space where Liverpool are running with it. We're kind of better than the ones below us, so we're kind of cool. And if I'm honest, going back to January, I think those above Mikel Arteta knew that. They knew worst case scenario, we're going to get Champions League football. I think Arteta wants to win trophies. You're just not going about it the right way per se. And the only question over you, there's micro questions, is can you get over the line? And until you do it, all cards should be on the table. But I think the Cronkies would like to win. I don't think they crave winning. I don't think they want Arsenal to win Prems and Champs as much as they want to be alive, or we don't start doing this. You know, I could be wrong, and maybe I'm being a bit emotional, but it felt like when we was, do you remember the 2022-23 season? Like just before that, like the years before, it felt, quote unquote, we was more aggressive in everything we was doing to get into the Champions League, ripping up contracts, buying, you know, when we bought in Ramsdale, White, Tomiyasu, them kind of ones. It's like since we've got into this 2022-23 season and up until this point, so these 3 years, we've been half stepping. We're half doing serious things. We're half not doing serious things. There's an air of complacency. And I don't know why, but I was up yesterday just watching random videos, like when Van Persie left, when Cesc Fabregas, who's been linked with Inter, and he said, Cesc Fabregas said in an interview, I always got the feeling that Arsenal, whenever they were flirting with stuff, like they never really did what they needed to do to get over the line. And this is why, on top of everything, I can't have too much expectation, get too excited. We were linked with him. Doesn't he play for Bruges? I don't watch him religiously. We need Arab owners. We could get American owners, whatever. Imagine, yeah, if we had Chelsea's owners, we'd be lit because they got the bread, the intentions there. We got the strategy. We're going clear. Don't give Arteta no ideas because there'll be 11 Kai Havertz's out there, but you never know. Nothing is happening in Arsenal. It's just PR club. Oh, Zubimendi, then Šeško. Then we go to Gyökeres, Rodrigo, players after players, but nothing is happening. Smash the like button and hit the subs, folks. If you're new, road to 70k, we're flirting with it. DG Nation, we're growing, man. We're growing slowly, but ever so surely, man. We are most likely going to get Leao. Seems like there's a bit of a fire sale or stuff going on at AC Milan, I must admit, because obviously Rangers are going to City. Somebody else has left there as well. Or Chelsea are trying to buy McGann, who's got a year left on his deal. Seems like there's things going on there. I don't know, man. Do they want to let Rafa Leao go? I think they sacked their manager. If you're the new manager coming in, you want to keep Leao. How much are they going to ask for Leao as well? And that's where Arsenal are at. There's many different things. Do you just pay the going rate? For example, if we signed them or not? If you truly want Isaac, can you put down the bread? If you want Rodrigo, can you put down the bread? Leao, can you put down the bread? Or do you do the Liverpool thing where you can maybe, I don't know if Liverpool scouts could see how lit he was, but he was there for the taking at one point. He went Liverpool and he's probably excelled their expectations. The same said for Mane, etc. There was even a point you could say that at City, like there was a point everybody could see when, where was Kevin De Bruyne at? Wolfsburg or Werder Bremen? One of them, because I remember he played in the Emirates. The season he signed for City, I'm sure he played in the Emirates Cup and he played against us and he was effing mustard. Everyone could have got him at one point. There was a point where he was a good player, but everybody could have kind of grabbed him. Same for Gundogan, same for Bernardo Silva. Do you do that angle? Because we've seen what not doing stuff has happened. You know, whether Gyökeres bangs or flops, whether Šeško bangs or flops, or the Hugo Ekitike or Watkins or all the others we're linked with, I hear that. But we've also seen what not signing anyone does. Sometimes it feels like we're so cautious, we end up making the biggest risk of them all, man. What about Gordon? Seeing some of the fan base talking about him, I can't see Newcastle selling any of their top talents. I'd have Gordon, but they're going to make us pay through the nose. And it does seem like above board, there's an Arsenal versus Newcastle kind of war brewing, if I'm honest with you. Burr is doing his best, but dictators in our club are stopping him from what he's doing. I hear that, yeah, and I hear all of that. But for me, I've got no, as much as I criticize the ownership, I don't have sympathy for Mikel Arteta. And I do for Burr because he just walked in, but then I don't because you know what you stepped into. And Arteta, fair enough. If I assume you didn't know what the Cronkies were like, despite being a player here, you know, when you first signed for us, all right, cool, you might have been naive. But in that period to signing your last deal in September, you know exactly how your owners are like. You know the conditions and whatnot. And you must think you can thrive within that. You must think you can thrive within the context. Or if not, you'd walk away. Anyone would in any other walk of life. So how far? There's no sympathy. Same way you'll all get praise if you get over the line. There's question marks if you continue to do what you're doing. In Darwin Núñez's best season in Portugal, he got 26 league goals. In Gyökeres' worst, he got 29. Can't believe Timber's younger than Saliba. Criminal, he wasn't in any team of the year discussions. Tell them again, man. Your sarcasm is top tier. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. You hear the man people run up them likes. Come on, come on. Doubt he needs an adjustment period. He ain't a player. Exactly that, man. Just get to work, bro. Just get the phone book to work, man. Just get to work, man. The only thing Burton needs to do is learn English on the basis of, we heard actually when the links finally started with us getting Burton, is that he's, well, just before actually, we heard Burton he's learning English, he's targeting the Premier League. Then obviously you saw what happened. Obviously, Burton walked in March, soak up as much knowledge as you can about the club and the processes. Obviously, there was probably business that ain't happened because we ain't seen, but that was happening already. that he just has to make sure it gets over the line. Obviously, flex your muscles and try, provide a new perspective. Let's get things done, man. We know what we need to do. If we forget individuals, the areas we need to do. We're having the same conversations day in, day out. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. Pepe is overhated. He scored some goals than some of the 70 million plus players that others have signed. Højlund, Zertsky, Anthony, Sancho. Pepe did more than all of those combined. Don't forget Makai and Mudryk. And I tried to tell Chelsea fans because it felt like they had the white Nicolas Pepe. And I only say that because ironically, they played Liverpool. I remember when we played Liverpool, I think we lost. Well, we normally lose it at Anfield. Well, we've been drawing. Pepe did some dribble where he twisted Van Dijk, and everyone was like, oh my God, he's arrived now. Obviously, we know how that panned out. The same thing happened to Mudryk. It was all clipped. I said, lightning is striking twice. Be careful with that one. And to be fair, of course, it could have worked out differently, but imagine we spent the bag on Mudryk. How would we be looking at the talent ID? We need to recruit right. Arteta must adapt, and a lot of injury luck. People got to remember, although we want Gyökeres, the works have been done on Šeško for over 12 months. So, of course, he will be the favour. This is all done deals before Berto. I hear it. Appreciate you, my dude. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Big up you lot, man. Pepe's playing in the Champions League next season. Wish him all the best. Arteta is a narcissist. He got rid of our best striker in Aubameyang and hasn't replaced him. I mean, let's be careful about throwing words, but realistically, every manager's a narcissist. Like, you think Jurgen Klopp isn't a narcissist. You think Pep Guardiola isn't a narcissist. You think Arsene Wenger, they're all control freaks. They're all narcissists. You have to be. You have to be stubborn. And life's a contradiction because as much as you got to be stubborn, you need to know when to have humility and pivot. You need that. You absolutely need that. Cut 5 million salary from Arteta and give it to a striker. Wait, smash the likes. It don't cost a thing. Come on, Catch, my guy. Hey, big up, Catch, man. Part of the family here between Catch, Hooks, and D. If you haven't seen the live stream we did on Monday, go and look at it, man. I can't believe we was arguing about what we've been arguing about, man. It's absolutely mad. Gordon would be good. When I speak to Newcastle fans, though, they do say Gordon. Because for me, I think Gordon's cold. Like, I think he's a baller. I'd be gassed about that. Martinelli, you'd hold bench for Gordon, in my opinion. But when I speak to Newcastle fans who obviously are watching him on a week in, week out basis, they don't disagree with me in that they rate him, his quality, but they think there's more gears to go and they think he's a lot more hot and cold than many non-Newcastle fans see, I guess. But bring him. Bro, 4-4-2, Kai chests it down, lays it off to Gyökeres as he drives that goal and bags. Šeško's a super sub, another threat. I can only see what Arteta is going to do, man. It's a long ball from Raya. Kai Havertz knocks it down. Šeško gets on it. Maybe the ball somehow finds with Saka. Saka smashes it off the right-hand side with his left peg. Boy, Arsenal bought Calafiori for 45 million. Yeah, Modric going to AC Milan. That's a signing for him, though. Italy extends how many old players go Italy and it's that they play for 10 more years. It's AC Milan. It's not quite, I'm only 30, but it's not AC Milan, not the club or the stature of it still is, but it's not the levels that it used to be in my early life. It's still AC Milan. Do your thing, man. DJ, I told you about that player, Zubimendi. He's a confused guy. It was Barca, Liverpool, us, Madrid. Now he can stay at Sociedad. Saga is long and drawn out. I hear it, and until we see him holding the kit, everything's up for debate. But then you do see the rumors about it's got to fall into certain accountancy periods. And then I look at Zubimendi, like, you're with the national team, you have to play the diplomatic game. Like, whether you're actually going to join Arsenal or anywhere else or stay at Sociedad, you have to kind of play that game. Obviously, it's not going to help Arsenal fans because, he's rejected us, he's whatever now. We're seeing what other clubs are doing. We're talking about strikers. We're frustrated from last season. Mikel Arteta in, out, shake it all about. It just makes people foam at their mouth even more. This is our bad season after year 4. Next year is going to be the league win. I hope we win the league, man. But they need to give me something to believe. As I said, I actually don't think we're as good as some people make out. And it's just these little excuses like ref decisions and all of that. I don't think we're as bad as people like to make out. We're in this mixed bag now. I said I'm a broken record at this point. I genuinely believe if we're happy, we've got everything we need. We can thump up top 6 teams. We've shown year-on-year improvement in the champs, 2 semi-finals, went out the FA Cup on penalties. If we want to get in the Champions League again, which the Cronkies bank balance is all right, kits are wavy. If we just want to be a good team, we've got enough. Nothing needs to change. But you see, if you want the Champions League beating Madrid, for example, to mean something, and by winning that, see if you want to finally end this 20-plus year Premier League drought, we know what needs to be done. Do you want to be a good team or do you want to be a great team? Do you want to go down in history or not? Because that's the one big fear, is that we have not seized these 3 golden years. Liverpool, for all we know, could fall off a cliff tomorrow. But right now, they seized the present moment. They were champions. Not praising Spurs. Obviously, they were shit in the league. But they've seized an opportunity. Newcastle seized an opportunity. Palace seized an opportunity. Always waffling about the past. Always thinking about the future. I never feel as a football club we seized the present. We don't. At a push, it might have even been the 2022-23 season because we probably over-excelled. But then how far does that go? Because we didn't lift nothing. You guys really believe we're going to win the league? City and Liverpool are back, bro. I think City win the league, Liverpool second. But I want to be wrong, and my opinion could change. But yeah, I don't think the club are going to do what I need you lot to do. Too slow in transfers as usual. Then we come up with stories. We don't see any quality players to sign. Shambolic board at Arsenal. In the Zubi case, I really, really doubt Fab would put his neck in the line and say, here we go for a player that's not coming. He's done it before, though. We're talking about Zubimendi. People are signing Verts, Rangers, Cherky, and Cunha. Perspective, we got to try something new, right? Add a new look. Exactly. All right, Catch is a legend, man. Hey, legendary. We really think we're going 4-4-2 in the 2025-26? No, it might be something we see in game, but I don't think we're going to see that. Is a 4-4-2 even feasible on a consistent basis in the Premier League in this day and age? I don't know, man. I really don't know, man. But Klopp, Wenger won stuff, what's Arteta won. He's won an FA Cup, and I hear that. But then again, DG2, then now you're not listening to the conversation. You're doing the agenda thing. By all means, hold Arteta accountable, but you're projecting that you just don't want the guy. You've got to be a narcissist. Everyone's got to start somewhere. That's the only point. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all well. I'm late to the stream. Lateness is greatness. Big up yourself, man. Hope your pockets and your belly stay full. Appreciate you. Why for the belly thing, but it's called Javinho or Pepe. Nah, don't buy Pepe. Don't buy Pepe. Pepe was a flop. That was one of my worst times on YouTube because I said we bought a dud before he kicked a ball because he only played well for 18 months. Way better than Javinho. Way better. Way better. Javinho was absolutely pony. Let me not diss Javinho because I've got a couple of pictures when I met you many years ago. Seeing Arsenal fans panic over transfers is puzzling. It's day 3 of the window. You know how human emotions is, man. Gyökeres coming to the theatre of dreams. Hopefully it becomes a nightmare. Boy. Fair enough, man. Underappreciated. Who? Pepe was not a flop. Underutilized, underappreciated. Underutilized slightly when there was opportunities to play, and when I'm sure William was consistently playing when we could have used Pepe. I like that. We got to try something. Just got to freshen things up. And for me, I think Arteta, there's a lot of questions. I think he adapted last season. I don't think he evolved. I don't like, what did we evolve in? Like, what are we, like last season that's just gone versus the previous 12? Collectively are we better at? I don't know. And I couldn't tell you. Even though I think we've adapted, it was adapting out of necessity because we didn't do what needed to be done with the depth. We had to use what we kind of had. Yeah, man. Pepe's decision making. But that's the age-old thing, you know. You can have all the party tricks, all the skills. You need the decision making, the intelligence, and the consistency. Palace won a trophy with a winning manager. True. Glasnier's CV is heavy. Europa League winner, going to be in the Europa League again, or depending on reports, actually, Crystal Palace might face a fight to stay in that, man. A fully fit and firing Paul Pogba, anyone taking him, just adding this to enrich the track. No. I like Pogba. I think he's a quality player, you know, absolute quality, but it's more the illusion. It's all the other stuff. You do get injured a lot and whatnot. If it was just on ability in an ideal world and not all the other things, then 100% Pogba walks in, but forget that, man. We're collectively better at defense. That's an actual fact. But I think the season before last year, I already said that. I don't think we're better at defending this year versus last year. And yeah, you can bring me all those facts, but is a part of defending not holding on to leads? The season before the one that's just finished, we didn't drop as many points from winning positions. We've dropped over 20 points from winning positions. I don't think our game management, which to me caters into defending, I don't think that. I hear you, but I don't think that. I don't think we're better in the final third. I don't think we're better defensively. I think this year, we didn't seize the previous 2 years, but I saw a lot more. This year, we've just been chugging along, literally from Wolves' first game of the season. There's been some highs. There were some lows, more lows, obviously. We won a couple battles, but I think we stagnated. I actually think we regressed. If you don't want to say that, I'll concede that and say stagnation. neither, whether it's regression or stagnation, neither are the direction that we want to move in, which is forward. Nobody can sit here and tell me we moved forward last year. I know it hurts to say it about your football club, but my point is not to run agendas or be positive or negative. Let's just look at it for what it is. We've known a lot of the things we needed to do last summer. This summer, sorry, we needed to do it last summer. We need to stop the fairy tale stuff, man. We didn't have as many injuries in previous seasons, so we had to adapt. It was hard to evolve, especially with our players out. But Ash, this is where I think you're listening to reply, because I said that. That's where I said I think Arteta's had to adapt out of necessity. And injuries happen. Like, you can't predict it. But again, it merely highlighted our poor depth in the summer. And I can go back to my old videos, which some of you were here. We're not saying even with everyone fit, we've got a small squad. How far does the injury thing happen? Fair enough. There's a reality where if we came out of last summer's transfer window into the season that just gone, and we felt we had the depth required, and these injuries happened to the same scale, I would have said fair enough. I'd have said fair enough. At least you put your foot. You tried to be proactive about a situation. And even with the injury stuff, how far does that go? Do you learn from your own mistakes, but the wise men not learn from other people's mistakes? We've seen what one injury with Rodri can do. We've seen, I'm sure Liverpool had this. I don't remember the injuries, but I'm sure there was a year Liverpool had bare injuries and their season fell off. I'm sure Chelsea the same. I'm sure Man United the same. So that's learned experience from elsewhere. Keep in mind, losing one player like Rodri. So we knew that. Self-experience. We saw in the 2022-23 season what missing a one Saliba could do for us. Even how far does that go? We didn't put our best foot forward, man. Nice, cool, Ash. I'm just saying we didn't put our best foot forward, man. Like, we showed some adversity. I do agree with what Arteta said in that many teams would have fallen by the wayside. They would have fell off. But then that doesn't console me because we're second. I'm not saying that to get excited. There's statistically only one team better than us. So we're meant to be better than the others. We're meant to react a bit better than them. How far does that go? This is what I mean by we're not as good and it's not all kumbaya as people make out. We're definitely not as terrible. We're in that halfway house, that mixed bag. And one thing I said last season, and I still stand by it, going into this season, it was a sense of we're either going to go up the gears or down the gears, man. And we rested on our laurels, man. We assumed everything was all good and dandy and whatnot. And I'm sure the club tried to sign people in the summer last year. I'm speaking about last year. It didn't happen. I'm sure we tried to win every 38 games last year. It did not happen. So you have to review things. I don't doubt the intention. It's how we're going about things. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. You need to know, like, it's a fallacy what we're doing. Like, obviously, we beat Real Madrid. And again, I'm not here to be positive or negative. Shout out Kivior, for example. Shout out Marino up front. If we remove what happened and the emotion, and we speak about, and actually Real Madrid, and you're playing in a knockout stage against Real Madrid, yeah, does it make sense to have you to go into it with that squad? That is something that can't be repeated. Small squad. We lost 4 players in the front 3 positions and still finished second. How do we have a small squad with people like Wanyeri, Kivior, Marino, Etal coming in when we had injuries? The man himself, Arteta, said we had a small squad about 3-4 times in 2024. We do have a small squad. Like, we have a tiny squad. And how many of these guys actually played? The manager himself said we had a small squad. We have a tiny squad. Let's cut the crap, man. You know we have a small squad. And if we don't, and we go with your logic and we don't, that means we have quantity, not necessarily quality. So yeah, big up Marino. And I'm not dissing the players, they stood up too, but 9 out of 10 times we go into games like that without with that level of a starting 11, we get our asses handed to us. Thank the Lord, we lived a little fairy tale. The players, and I've said this before, if I feel sorry for anyone, it's the players, bro, because I feel players have young Lewis Skelly stepped up. Players have rushed back from injuries. Players have played with injuries. Players have been run into the ground. I can question, obviously the players are playing, so whether we win, lose or draw, they have to hold smoke. But I think the players have done all they can. Genuinely think that. Guitar solo, you'd have to speak to Mikel Arteta. He said we have one of the smallest squads. And if you don't think we have a smallest squad, okay, assume everybody's fit. Even though that's not the thing. Okay, everybody's fit. Let's assume everybody's fit. Name your starting 11 in your head. Go and look at that bench. Over a 38-game period, do you think we've got enough depth? Bearing in mind, there is going to be suspensions, injuries, and etc. Can't argue with me. You can, but Arteta said we have one of the smallest squads. In fact, Arteta's smallest squads. You can go back as far as even to the 2022-23 season, but let's Let's do this. Let's do this. Because I don't just like to waffle. Let's do this. Where we go. That's February. Where else can we go? This is 2022. This is 2023. All right. So let's see what's going on, yeah? Because this is the gaffer. This is the gaffer. He can only answer that, right? This is the gaffer. Arteta what say, because we're gonna get copyrighted. Arteta wants bigger squads, more subs in the Premier League. Obviously, this was at the time. He suggested he's considering expanding to a 25-man squad. So that's one. Okay, move the pop up. Okay, that's about height and that. Okay, that's a bit weird. That's something else. Is Arteta right to say we have a thin squad? This was in 2024. When you talk about numbers, especially bearing in mind this was 2024, when you talk about the numbers, especially in certain areas, we are really thin. It wasn't possible to do any Jan deals. Now we didn't have the capacity to improve the team in the way that we think we want to improve it. So nothing's decided yet. That man said we've got one of the smallest squads. Yeah, that man said he's got one of the smallest squads. This is the man who manages the team, right? We've got one of the smallest squads. Arsenal squad, one of the thinnest in the Premier League. That's the manager. Arteta knew Arsenal squad was super short and had injury concerns, which is why, okay, Arteta knew that. Maybe you didn't necessarily have to let people go, but then I factor in the business aspect. I do think like this season, there was an aspect of balancing books and things like that, which is why I can't just blame Arteta or Edu or Berta or the Cronkies. You're all in this together. That's Arteta saying this, but let's see exactly what he said. By contrast, 10 of Liverpool's outfield players played more than 30 league games this season. Okay, we all know our injuries. It's a lot of factors to that. We knew from the beginning of the decision that our squad was super short, and being super short, we had some players that had a high probability of getting injured because that's what they had in the last few seasons. So we knew that, and we didn't do anything about that. So again, going back to last summer when we were saying if everybody's fit, my point of doing this is not to catch you out, myself out, or the manager out. You lot are telling me things, it needs to correlate. He said we've got a small squad. Change that, bro. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Arteta registered 22 out of a possible 25-man squad to the season's just gone. To be fair, who did he leave out, though? Because the young players don't necessarily have to be registered. What we saying about Rosinac, if we extend his stay, does he break through into the first team? Probably one of the best free kick takers at the club. And I'd imagine he's on a pretty pay packet. But if I was him, after training, go talk to a couple of the season pros and said, let's play target practice or hit free kicks, winner takes all. You can make some money. Bad boy free kick taker. You never know. It is always 9 times out of 10, obviously, like, the Foldens, the Sakas, the Lewis Kellys, the Cole Palmers is bait. Jadon Sancho is bait when you can see a young player that's going to make it. But then there's also a rhetoric with the players you don't rate or not really keeping an eye on. They're the ones that bust through. So you can't rule out anything. Can do that inverted right back role well. Can actually play centre mid. I don't think I want as many Haylenders to bust through as possible, but I can't. Admittedly, I don't think it's gonna happen, man. We have a small squad, not in numbers, but in trusted and ball is used. I hear that. We have no 8 and 10. Others are signings back up for those positions. If Arsenal's big as we know we should be, like those other big teams who have alternative players in every position, lack of depth is what has been our undoing. And the depth is a funny one, to be fair, because you can't have too many players. You can't have too little. Admittedly, with what we've seen, I'd rather have too many, though. Unpopular opinion, Arsenal's problem versus deep blocks can be solved by restructuring midfield. I'm not a fan of Rice in the 8. I'm a fan of Rice in the 8, but I feel when it comes to low blocks, we've got to find, I don't know what, but we've got to find a different way. I know we ain't got them, but do you remember when we had like an 11, I'm exaggerating, but an 11 of Mesut Ozil, Santi Cazorla, Jack Wilshere, Rosicky, Nasri, the list goes on, players that are good in the pockets? Or do you stretch the opposition? Because I do find it a bit bait in that teams are compact. It's a lot, being a deep and mid and low block, you need to be compact. That's the only way you can defend well, by being solid defensively, right? You need to disrupt that. Sometimes I feel when we We're committed to playing the same way. We're moving at the same tempo. Obviously, Rice is making those third man runs from midfield, but it's one man running forward, and there's like a million opposition players, and then you got a one striker occupying. How far can that really take you? So I think we've just got to evolve with how we keep players fit, with the depth, with the quality, finding new solutions with tactics, churning out more results that are worse, reacting to even more adversity when we're crying about refs. We just got to go up the gears, man. We speak about Grealish. Grealish gets away with murder, bro. Murder, bro. Maybe that's why Eddie was encouraged to leave. I hear it. I just think it's a mixture of things. For all his faults, I think Eddie thought, you know what, my voice is being probably crowded out. Clearly Eddie was scheming on the Berta position as well. He never got that, so he's cut in. It's a bit like Jason Ito. Jason Ito got to be in that role in January. He interviewed for that role. The club said, I want more experience. I need to go somewhere where I can realize my professional ambitions, in it, really and truly. Many teams would have bought a player in January. I mean, what I would say to Arsenal, you see, if there's ever players like at Frankfurt where they had Omar Marmoush and that, these are the guys, like, can we be a bit smart and grab these? Because imagine we had Marmoush, could have helped us in January up front. Imagine Gyökeres, Marmoush, and Saka front three. And players of that ilk. Can we buy those little smart players, man? Bro, Napoli were already looking at Allegri when Conte wanted to leave. DG, I like the Georgian left winger for Lyon. His name's mad, innit? I know you're talking about. I prefer that Malik Fifana guy, man. He's raw, man. But yeah, can we just get over the line? We went way too defensive. I like how we are defensively. I just need us to free up the shackles a bit in the final third, man. Be a bit more braver in that, man. I don't know how many teams have deeper squads, to be fair. I guess Chelsea by default, because they got a million players. Can you say City? I don't know. Really, at this moment in time, City. Not many, but again, the gaffer, do we really care about the others? We need more, man. DG, there's only one way to break a low block. I disagree, but how? A lot of fraudulent viewers ain't hit the like yet. Come on, people, you are acting, man. This is a respectful platform. We challenge opinions. We don't tell you what to think, just think. Come on, man, smash the like button. If you've hit the like button, big up you lot. A close friend of Christian Ty met Berta in London. Who's Christian Ty? Respectful. Who is that? A close friend of Christian Ty met Berta in London, and Berta asked him, who do you want? He said, I want Gyökeres. Berta fist pumped him and said, you got him. Big up, Christian Ty, whoever you are, big up you for getting Berta to do that, but who is that? I'd love to see an open question time sort of thing when the manager is sat in front of, say, 50 fans and questioned on decisions from a fan perspective. But you know they're not going to get fans that have no agendas. You're either going to get guys that hate the guy's guts, or guys that are just going to anything Arteta does. Pause. I think the versatility of the players lead to a smaller squad, and this is down to Arteta and Edu. They wanted this thin squad. Why Arteta pretends he wanted the opposite? I don't know, man. DG, I'd take Minter at Brighton at Arsenal. I would, but then it's more unpolished players, really, and we've got a lot of guys already that are like that. Low block is about intelligent movement in the box, tactics, and player intelligence. Make it happen, man. I'm annoyed we didn't take Marmoush or Kvaratskhelia. The club were just sitting on hand. See, these are market opportunities. I'm not even mad at the fact that you didn't go for Kvaratskhelia when he was going PSG, because by then it's too late. But they probably tripled his wages. Luis Enrique's gassed him. It's too late. When he's at Napoli and no one's on him, that's where we got to get involved. And I remember his agent or someone, like, when he first moved to Napoli, like, I think it was in Get French Football. I don't know why they were reporting it, but his agent or whatever, they said, like, a couple of years ago, I think he was at Ruben Kazan or something. He was available for 10 million. He said that we offered him to City, to Arsenal, to Spurs, to Chelsea, couple teams in Spain. Nobody took a chance. Napoli did. See what's going on. Gyökeres, Šeško, get either one or both. I'd love both in it, but I'm dreaming. Eze is there. Buy Eze, sell Odegaard. Remember, Eze was close to going Spurs last year, and the ITKs of this world are saying that Eze is 90% likely to be a spud. So make of that what you will. I don't want to have to start hating him, but yeah. DG, no harm getting both strikers. It may just give us a plan B when facing different opponents in the Prem. We're currently too predictable. I'm on that. I would love two strikers. I'm on that. But can I see two strikers and a left winger? Probably not. Do you know what? If you got me two strikers, I still want a left winger, but I might say I allow you lot, because then you've got that. sort of thing. But yeah, I'd like I'd like two strikers. I'd like a ready-made one that can kind of help us in the short, medium, and long term, a left winger. Then you got the Kai Havertzes. I know people are going to cry, but you got the Kai Havertzes, the Trossards, the Martinellis. They can help us in the squad. If we've learned nothing from last season, you need a squad. It's all fun and games in the first weeks of August where, you know, I remember a lot of things. People were saying, oh my God, what's going Ben White's not going to, like, Ben White, if Ben White played, Timber's future's not here, Timber's on the bench, all of this. It's all fun and games when it's one game a week. Then it gets into 2 games. Then it's 2 games a week, 3 games in 10 days. Then the Champions League and the Premier League are colliding. Then the League Cup is a couple of rounds of the League Cup. You then get to December, January, the FA Cup starts to come into play. Right. And then you start, depending on what you've been doing in the season, it starts deciding what you have to play for. Because again, you look at the tail end of this year where up until obviously we went out of the Champions League, the Prem was all been there, done that year, and we threw all our eggs into the Champions League. I want to be in a realm where we're playing in the Champions League Tuesday, Wednesday, and then what was the games towards the end of the season? Like the Brentfords, not West Ham, but like the Brentfords. You get where I'm going, man. Them kind of games that we was playing, Everton away, like they're both must wins. To do that, we need a squad, bro. I do Nelly drill if you get Šeško, Gyökeres. Gyökeres and Šeško is great, but then you wake up and it's Marino up top. Christian Ty is a guy from AFTV. He was on Dan Potts' channel yesterday saying it. Big him up. Oh, that you. Big him up. Big him up. I mean, hope he's right, innit? Hope he's right, man. We ain't signing both with Havertz in the squad, which is another. That's how I am. I'll at least work with them if you get both strikers. No guessing, just ambition, attack loaded. KK is on 314k a week base salary. Myself, bro. Some people are living life, you know. Imagine that. Imagine earning 300 grand a week. And that's you know what? That's like you said, that's his base salary. We don't know for, you know, if I get X amount of goals, I get this, loyalty bonus, collective bonuses, sponsorship deals, pardon me, etc. etc. If I was him in my homeland, Georgia, if he hasn't already, I'm starting a soccer school, man. A thank you in Arteta would not work. Imagine 3 fans asking why aren't we buying Alvarez, 5 asking why aren't we buying Šeško, 6 as a 10 Gyökeres. It'd be reductive as heck. I hear you, man. I hear you. Don't ever do that again, bro. Oh. I just clocked what you meant. Got to entertain you lot. Arteta talking about lack of depth, yet we had Jesus, Tommy, Odegaard, Calafiori, Trossard, and even that. Bringing players is one thing, and I know players are not trying to get injured and stuff, but I do think there's an element of accepting players for what they are. We all knew to a degree, maybe not in this, but we probably knew Saka was due a long-term injury at some point based on the minutes he played. Anyone who picked up a hamstring injury. Unfortunately, where you look at, I love Tomiyasu. I'm quite fond of Gabriel Jesus. We know they're going to be injured. We know Jorginho's not going to be a long-term absentee, but he's going to miss stuff. Thomas Partey was an anomaly this season, but typically he's going to miss a couple weeks. And there's many more. And if these guys are missing, then the players that are fit, they're going to be ran into the ground more and more and more. At what point are we going to learn from what we need to learn from? Lack of depth. See what he did there. Project Mbappe, Neymar in full effect as soon as little man starts walking. Trust me. Do you know what this has to make them an athlete? Because I actually think, you could be a 10 out of 10 technically based footballer in this country now and still not make it. And then I think you could be a 10 out of 10 athlete. Like, you can run fast, you're strong, all that stuff. And you're just, obviously you're good, but in the academy realm against academy guys, you're just 5s and 6s. You got a decent touch, decent pass, decent vision, nothing too showy. I think you've got more of a chance of making it like that. Really. Large up yourself, Jerry. Make sure you're following his YouTube channel. He's a United twat, but he's all right. 300k is life-changing money. Kai can be a donkey and get paid. Kai catches trays for no reason. Wait, but the tax, though. I don't know how the tax works in Paris or in France, with the exception of Monaco, but footballers must get taxed. I can't lie, man. There's probably other ways to get around it and that, but it's all fun and games talking about the player gets 300k a week. Bro, if you see your tax sheet, it must burn. Then obviously you're being taxed. You've got bills to pay and all these other things as well. It's dark. It's absolutely dark, man. Crazy. DG, could you bring Christian Town on your show about Gyökeres? How do you contact him? I'll throw my hat into the ring. I always contact people, whether they're here or not. It's down to them, man. Might have to breed up a female basketball player just for this genetic hype bully. The them on the Lukaku flex. This guy's mad. Probably 50%. Aye, 50%. So I'm only getting, even though it's still mad, 150 bags. Hey, this country is mad, you know. People keep saying Šeško is raw talent. Due is 20 and tore up the whole UCL part. It's true, but realistically, there's exceptions to the rule, man. There is. Can't wait till next season. If Arsenal, Liverpool, and City do their thing, it should be a madness. Hear that? Eze here, not Spurs. Do you lot really think we're on Eze? I think there must be a degree of, we obviously like him. We must be fond of him to a degree, but how much do we really want him? And are we going to move for Eze before you get, I know we can play out wide, but before you get a more out-and-out winger, before you get a striker, before you even deal with potential contracts or outgoings, before you get Zubimendi over the line, maybe even some sort of defensive reinforcements and in goal. If you do all of those, there may be someone like Eze. If it was up to me, which it's not, and I know it's easy for me to say as an armchair expert, bro, Eze's coming here tomorrow, bro. We need to find the bread for that. Like, you're signing tomorrow. Irony, the team that buys most left backs has a left back crisis again. Only 5% of footballers in the Premier League actually deserve the money they're on. Nah, man, I think all of them do. Even the ones I don't rate, I think they all do. If anybody deserves the money in this footballing game that we love, it's the players, because they typically come from backgrounds like us. They're the ones playing. Every footballer in every league said we're never kicking a ball again. I don't know what we're talking about on YouTube. And realistically, the clubs, what they're paying these players is pennies. From a business point of view, I'm no finance expert, but you're not going to pay 300 grand a week if you're not making serious buck on them directly or indirectly. They deserve it, bro. They deserve it. Where you got TV companies making us pay through the nose, people chopping mad bread from kits, season tickets, and that. Players deserve it all, bro. That's why I find it weird when people are like, oh, we're a money grabber. We'd all want to get more money, and you should be grabbing money because these clubs don't care about you. No matter what they say, when it's you're useful until you're useless, they don't care about you. And I know football's romantic and things. They don't care. They don't care. Boy, we need a trophy. Money should be in the club. That's naive, man. Money in the club for what? These guys that harvest our love of football. Forget all of that. Here you go, man. Oh, what's this? Can you look? Hello? Yo, okay, I'm still alive. I'm still alive. I don't know what happened there. That was a bit weird. If we're not challenging for the title by Christmas, just fire Arteta, the guy scamming the club. Do we really, like, Arteta's on 15 mil a year? I don't know at Christmas how much he'd be entitled to in terms of compensation, but are they going to sack his thing, his agent, his coaches? If you really are, as a football club, saying, you know what, this is last chance saloon for Mikel Arteta, I'm not saying you're going to sack him now or get onto him and whatnot, yeah, but you're thinking about the next manager from now. I think Kai deserves his wages. He didn't put a gun to no one's head to get that, and he's probably been one of, and it's damning on the club and tells you where we're at, but he's probably been one of our more consistent players. He's a German international, Champions League winner. Edu, I don't know what you was Kai Arteta. I don't know what you was on really identifying Kai Havertz. Edu, I don't know how you managed to agree 65 million, which is only a 5 mil loss for Chelsea. They'll probably say that 5 million won us the champs because he scored. You put him on this big money as well. Dark. DG, could it be that Gyökeres is probably dragging this thing, trying to weigh up his options, forcing Arsenal to turn to Šeško as an alternative at the same time? Maybe fans just need to chill. Probably. And you know what? Gyökeres, Šeško, any club, anywhere, yeah? Any player going to any club, you deserve the right to take your time, bro. You got to think about your move, maybe. But that's where Arsenal have to be able to pivot. UK income tax additional rate is 45%, and there's also a separate tax on dividends at 39.35%. This country don't want no one to elevate, bro. Whether you have your own business, whether you're a 9-to-5er, like, they don't want you to live. You house price, but everything. Everything's collapsed. Everything is collapsed. Why do you think pubs are dying? Nightclubs are dying. Any sort of social circle. Everything is dying. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Feels like Gyökeres is stalling, waiting for Barcelona to make a move. Salute DG. Let's just be happy just to sign one of them. You're not alone, man. Just get one through the door and start talking about the rest soon, man. Don't forget, people, 4 p.m. I'm going to have DJB and Kenny Ken as well. Jobs market, horrible. Everything's dead, bro. And it's the same for a lot of countries. Obviously, I can only talk on England because I live here. It's horrible, bro. I saw a tweet. Sometimes I listen to the LBC, and hear the ignorance just sometimes. And sometimes you get some good sound bites. But the guy was like, oh, right, I went to Portugal. The things I was getting for peanuts out there was crazy. Like, I spent €3 and I got this and that. Then I came back to England and I spent £20 in prep. It's over, man. It's over. You're getting taxed 45% at over 125k. Yeah, exactly. And the only way to bypass that is if you got them super businesses like Nike and all of that, where you can dodge tax. And they don't, bro, this is down the shit, mate. And again, I always believe a society, yeah, forget all of that. I believe in a society. If you look at how you want to see your strength of a society, is how they treat, like how they treat the not the lowest, but the most vulnerable. Look what they're doing with fuel tax and all of that to the old people. Like, people are, God forbid, it's so sad. People are freezing to death. Marcus Rashford is having to feed kids that didn't choose to be here, for giving them breakfast and that. From you don't NHS on its knees. From you don't care about these 3 factors, bro. Me, you, no one ain't got no chance, man. Yes. Getting taxed on everything, my brother. Ridiculous tax rate. You're getting taxed on everything, my guy. You're getting taxed on everything. You're getting taxed on everything. Even the boy, you walk out the house, you've spent 100 and something quid already. You blink, it's mad. Fuck you know, mate. You know what I mean? This country's gonna used to be a proper country, you know what I mean? And that's, you know, even like the jobs market's fucked here, but my heart even bleeds more for people that are not in London, because previous towns that were like coal towns and mines, they're not investing in them. It's peak. Rent is peak. Everything is peak. It's only going to get worse, man, bro. And like, again, I don't want to make this about politics, but it's all birds of a feather. It's all Rothschild-y. It don't really matter. Like, if we want to move like the French, shout me when we're ready to move like the French. I'm not going to expand on that. Inheritance tax, darkness, bro. When we're ready to do what the French do, then I might take things seriously. But this kumbaya thing is dead. It's dead. Stop putting your faith in politicians, man. And politicians, it's all about chatting shit. You lot are making me mad about the political stuff in it. So we're going to move on. I don't want to talk about life right now. It's dark, innit? The government is like a teenage girl with her first credit card. Their spending is out of control. But again, that's why they're doing it. Because you see, when you're a politician, it's a video game for them. They're all laughing and joking like fucking cunts in the House of Commons or whatever. And they're all going, all their kids go to the same school. They're debating over things that harm people's real lives. And it's just a game for them. All of these guys make promises, get into government, and they can run away without being held accountable. Look at David Cameron. Look at what's my man that ended up on I'm a Celebrity, but you're making me vex, man. Contract updates: 20 players to depart this summer. Mazzolini, the following 12 players have left Arsenal Football Club, people, in alphabetical order. Nathan Butler Ojeji made his debut, big him up. Reece Clermont, Kion Edwards, big him up. Jakai Fisher, Ramari Ford, big him up. Tija Goldie, Jimmy Gower, Jack Henry Francis, Lena Huting, Amanda Elisteg, forgive me, Jorginho, Max Koritzinski, Salah Odin, Ishmael Odin, Neto, Brian Okonku, Kwesnador Fawn, Zachariah Scrub, Raheem Sterling and Kieran Tierney. In addition, the following players' contracts also expire on June 2025. Discussions are ongoing, and once matters are finalized between all parties, we will communicate in due course. Thomas Partey, Rosiak, and Chloe Kelly. So we're trying to extend these lot deals. Why not Sterling's though? His son signed for us. Might as well keep him. How come while using Twitch on the phone it keeps pausing? I don't know, my guy. At least Germany has free healthcare. Big up you lot. The only thing you're promised in life is taxes and death. You know the vibes. It's dark, innit? Like, it's dark, innit? Germany is the same tax rate as criminal because it's designed to keep us at the bottom. You tax people, you stop their earnings, you stop them saving, you stop them investing. Ultimately, the more money you get, the more options you have. The more options you have, the more freedom you have. The more freedom you have, the more control you have. They don't want you to be in control. This pagan population really ruined my COVID Thursdays by banging pots. But when the same doctors and nurse say them slaps don't pay bills, the population told them to their face sharp and deal with it. One thing I think we do in society is British misery loves company, man. Like, teenagers could talk about how tough it is, and older dons will come out and say, "Oh, but it's tough in my day," and we still made it work. Okay, but it really wasn't. Really wasn't. This generation is the first generation that's going to be worse off than their parents. But again, we're going left with it. I did see this on The Athletic. Gyökeres or Šeško for Arsenal. We asked agents, sporting directors, and coaches who they'd pick. Šeško, 22, has long been considered one of the most promising young talents in Europe, and his 14 goals in 2024-25, including a run of 7 in the German side's final 7 games, further proved his potential. Gyökeres is 5 years older, but has been one of the most consistent players in the game over the past 2 seasons, scoring 68 league goals for his Portuguese team. Both, however, are unknown qualities in the Premier League. Gyökeres has been on the books of Brighton and Hove Albion, Swansea City, and Coventry in the English game, but has only ever played in domestic cups during 3 years with the former, who loaned him out to the latter 2 in the second tier Championship during the 2020-21 season, before Coventry bought him the following summer. While Isaac has long been Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta's first choice purchase, that is a myth. Again, can we just get into the bulk of it? If they are to sell Šeško this summer, Leipzig's preference is to do a deal so early so they can rebuild their squad over the coming weeks, given they failed to qualify for the Champions League. His departure would help plug a financial gap. For one head coach who is well versed in the Red Bull clubs and watches them closely, the answer to Arsenal's problems can be found in Leipzig. Normally, I like to work with younger players to develop them, so I'd go for Šeško. Fair enough, but that your bias is younger players, so you might not be impartial, but with younger players, you can mold their attitude. Arteta would love that. Create the values you want and help them take the next step. Look at Barca, for example. They have a team full of young, exciting players. The same can be said for PSG, who have just dominated the Champions League. Is that really fair with PSG? They got a bunch of young players. Barca the same, but there is also significantly experienced players in and around. Šeško, a player with a lot of speed for his game to go to the next level, he needs consistency, especially against the ball, because strikers can sometimes be lazy, but he has the qualities needed to go to the next level. Ooh. Okay. One agent, in contrast to the head coach quoted above, believes Arsenal would be better served targeting Gyökeres and dismiss the idea they would lose value because of the Swedish forward's age. He's 27. I said he's 27. You can still do something for 5 years. Let's see what this Donny said. If you sign a striker who's 27, which Gyökeres turns this week, as a club, you have him for 4 years, then you've done well out of that deal. The reality is that clubs don't keep players for multiple years now anyway, so Arsenal have to decide who is going to help them win today, not in 4 years' time, and it's difficult to look beyond Gyökeres' record. If you have 2 players who had exactly the same output and exactly the same style, you'd naturally go for the player who is 4 years younger. But in this instance, they are 2 players with completely different goal scorer records, so you sign the player that gets you over the line in terms of winning titles. I agree with that. And then someone said, you just signed the best player. You take into account your style of play and who's better suited to your system. With every transfer, there's an element of not having a crystal ball. Someone like Šeško may not develop how well you think he will, while Gyökeres may not be any good in the Premier League. But if there is that much of a question mark over each player, then maybe it's not the right one in either case, and they should be looking elsewhere. Arsenal had targeted Ollie Watkins in January, while one agent ironically suggested they should take a look at Monaco's Mika Beref. Arteta's not going to buy him back, mate. Like he was here, swimming training. We know he's 22 years of age. Anyways, man, what's going on here? If you've done a good job and you've got the right people in place, everyone should be on the same page. If you take a club like Arsenal, the expectation is for them to win now, but there's a secondary expectation that they will be sustainable and continue to win. I agree with that. And what else? That's going to be a big debate. The safe decision would be Gyökeres, because you know he's still scoring goals frequently and will probably be the answer now. But there's no guarantee someone experienced who's knocking in goals at the top level is going to come in and make that transition either. It's a fine line, but that's what Andrea is getting paid the big bucks for, to get it right, to satisfy his manager and the club's owners and fans. Fair play. If you're in a disagreement at this stage, there's something wrong about the way you're working together and the way you're drawing up targets. If you're working from a long list down to a short list, the sporting director and manager should both be involved in those discussions all the way, to the point where if you're down to 2 players, you're going to be happy with either one. If you're happy with either player, then it'll probably be easier to go with the coach's view. Okay. Head coaches who spoke who we spoke to, favours a move for Šeško, for example, raises the importance of selecting a striker who helps gets the best out of other players such as Kai Havertz. Fuck's sake. The German was signed as an attacking midfielder but has been used predominantly as a centre forward. Kai Havertz is the type of player Šeško needs around him. For me, Kai Havertz's best position is the 10 row and not a striker. Odegaard, you might be in trouble. So if you want, or maybe Odegaard goes into 8, maybe you play 2 8s. Maybe you got Odegaard as an 8 on the left, which I don't know. Maybe you got Rice doing exactly what he does on the left, on the right. You've got Kai in that role, who, if Kai was fit, I think Odegaard would have been dropped. And you've got Šeško. I don't know, people. So if you want to play with a 10 and a striker, then Havertz and Šeško can work that way. I might do a video on this, maybe looking back at Havertz's Leipzig days. Maybe if you lot want it, let me know, people. A video where we really fine-tune Gyökeres and Šeško. I'm all about giving you lot quality. So smash the like button and subscribe. From what I saw of Arsenal last season, they were a little bit more direct. And if they had a target player like Šeško up front, then Havertz in the 10 position, then it'd be interesting next season. The one thing everyone seems to agree on is that Arsenal require a centre forward this summer. But whether that is Gyökeres, Šeško, or somebody else remains up for debate. Do Arsenal want to go for a proven goal scorer with no Premier League experience, or a still developing project player who could become a leading line forward at the club for years to come? It's a big moment for Arteta, Berta, and the rest of Arsenal's hierarchy. Gyökeres has an incredible goal record and is a ready-made star, but Šeško is proven in major European league and has potential. Who should Arsenal sign this summer? In an ideal world for Arsenal, Aston Villa would have beaten Man United on the final day of the season and edged Newcastle out. Yeah, we might have had a case of signing Isaac. Forget this Isaac stuff. We know the number 9 position is a priority. We knew we drew 14 of our 38 games. It sounds mad, and I almost don't believe it, when I see that even more. I'd take Gyökeres. Arsenal are waiting for July the 1st to make transfers so they can get profit from cash reserves, which is why Šeško and Gyökeres would come now if the deal is in significant installment splits. If Gyökeres comes, Havertz is going to be a problem. Hopefully he cuts out next year and we go back in for Alvarez. Perfect age profile. Smash the like button. But I might as well be sniffing toes and barbecuing. What the fuck? We plan for 3 years down the line every year and it doesn't ever come to fruition. We're getting Watkins and Sane on deadline day. Just make peace now, fellas. But I don't want Sterling at Arsenal. We need players that is a game changer. Yunus Agon, Malik Fifana, Gabby Vega, Eze, for example. Would you say Eze is younger? I'm not a political guy, but F me, this year's election choices are an absolute shambles. Brother, it's dark. Their league goes. In 2023, we had 5 players score more than 10. Oh, sorry, that's a personal chat. All of them are frauds, man. They're all birds of the same feather, man. I understand politics. People want to put their hopes in, but how much time do you not want to... Like, if I was bad mind, what do people want? I'm going to lower taxes. I'm going to create jobs. I'm going to tell you all of these things. You vote me into power. And I might come true on some of those things. But once I'm in power, I'm going to do what I want to do, what's been my vested agenda. And I'm gone. And before all of my policies that I come out with, whether they harm you or not, I'm going to be gone. Welcome to politics. Anyways, Sporting Lisbon's Gyökeres and Šeško are the 2 main contenders. Arsenal fans and those inside the club are torn on who is the better option. Both Gyökeres and Šeško are top-class strikers in their own right. Each have plenty of positives and impressive goal records to boost their case to Arsenal's recruitment team. On one hand, a move for Šeško would make sense given the Slovenian star has been a long-term target. Arsenal have done much of the groundwork on a potential deal, having been close to signing him last summer before the player became unsure over how much game time he'd get. Šeško has since netted 26 goals for club and country this season, and at 21, the striker, who turns 22 on Saturday, I think he's turned 22 now, presents an ideal profile for future growth. A transfer to Arsenal almost feels like the perfect next step for Šeško, who has carefully constructed his career to date. After moving to Salzburg at 16, he initially impressed on loan at their sister club, Leifring, who play in this Austrian second tier. 2 seasons saw him score 22 goals in 44 games, when he then made the step up to Salzburg's first team to fill the void left by Haaland's departure to Borussia Dortmund. He thrived, and in the summer of 2023, he had interest from several teams across Europe before he ultimately, obviously, chose to join Leipzig and stay within the Red Bull network. In Germany, he's gained crucial experience. He's got 21 goals in 45 games, even though they crashed out of the Champions League and won't qualify for the Champions League. Šeško's variety of goals are also an added positive for potential suitors, with the 21-year-old having netted just 6 times from the penalty spot this season. Šeško is strong with both feet and has scored multiple headers. Overall, he has an impressive career record of 90 goals and 25 assists in 210 matches. At 22, it's not worse. His experience of Champions League would also be useful to Arsenal. Across 4 seasons, Šeško has scored just 6 goals in 28 games. However, it must be noted that the 21-year-old has genuinely played for teams that have struggled in the Champions League, and he did manage to net 4 times in 8 matches this time around. But when Arsenal are weighing up whether or not to go for Šeško, is valued at 92.5 million. There are other factors that may encourage them to go for Gyökeres, people. The Swedish forward has enjoyed 2 incredible years at Sporting. We know Sporting are apparently searching for a striker, as they should, because Gyökeres probably is going to leave. They're demanding 70 million, so he'd be more experienced and once again young. He might be older than Šeško, but he's more experienced and he's going to cost less, people. And Berta did want him during his time at Atletico Madrid. 97 goals in 102 games is mad. 2024-25, he got 54 goals and 13 assists in 52 games. He's 26 years of age, turning 27. He didn't make it at Brighton. To be honest, I might do a video on this, This is some good graphics. Despite his incredible record, there are a few concerns surrounding Gyökeres, including the fact that he'll be 27 at the start of next season. He can't help when his mum and dad had sex and his dad didn't pull out. Like, is that the only concern? And I get it, 27, but he's not 77. And I'm not going to lie, that is not even a concern, but like Brighton, who buy players from all over the world and develop them. Now, maybe you slip through the net. Once upon a time, Tom Brady wasn't on his scouts radar, but why didn't you bang over there? And apparently, internally at Arsenal, figures are torn on whether the striker can hit the ground running in the Premier League. That's one thing that probably goes in Šeško's favor, because he's younger. If he struggles, there's more light at the end of the tunnel. With Gyökeres, we'd need him to, even if he's struggling, to get out of that sooner rather than later. There's pros and cons to both. I'm happy with either. I prefer Gyökeres, but as you don't know, I'm a big fan of Šeško. I'm not going to cry if we get Šeško, man, if I'm honest with you. Nevertheless, the Sweden international's record is impressive. Gyökeres having netted 15 goals in 26 games in comparison to Šeško's 16 and 41 for Slovenia. Whatever they decide, it feels as if Arsenal will be getting a top quality forward this summer, and one that will take them to a trophy after more than 5 years. And even that, talking about Šeško can do it in 2-3 years' time, Gyökeres can do it for 5 years. And in that period of time, there's going to be the next Haaland, Gyökeres, Šeško is that, next summer, we're all going to be, whatever you support Arsenal or not, we're all going to be waffling about players that we're not waffling about now. So just even if you sign Gyökeres now, you might just continue to scout Hugo Ekitike or whatever, people. You get where I'm going with it. So yeah, man, both strikers have their qualities. Gyökeres possessing an incredible record over the past 2 years. In fact, in the 2024-25 season, the 26-year-old averaged a goal every 79 minutes. This outperforms Šeško, whose goals per minute ratio is 156, while he has a conversion rate of 47.1%. Yeah, man, is what it is. Arsenal have also done plenty of due diligence on him as they target and have been tracking the 21-year-old. The Gunners have plenty of money to spend this summer, and although Šeško is likely to be more expensive than Gyökeres, his physicality, age, and potential means Mel Sport favors him narrowly as the better option. Okay, that's good. On that as well, we already know that the framework has apparently been done on Gyökeres and Šeško, and whatever happens, I don't know. We know Isak was a first choice of ours. We know Šeško has universal backing of everyone. Since Berta's coming in, he's probably forced the case a bit more of Gyökeres. Crucially, though, it says Gyökeres is more economical, but would see the club divert from their long-term strategy, given Šeško has always been a target. Sometimes doing things different can breed different results, people. We know a striker is a top priority of ours. We know what we failed to do in the summer in January. We're still linked with Gyökeres and Šeško and Nico Williams and Martin Zubimendi. We're definitely not getting Garcia. This says Hato is being monitored. We know who's departing, people. Fabio Vieira's move is gone. Party's been offered fresh terms. Jorginho and Tini, we saw here in this article what happened there. Kivio has long-term interest from clubs in Italy, and a big bid could test Arsenal's resolve. Fabio Vieira and Nelson both spent last season on loan, and it's unclear what their futures hold. So there's a lot to consider. Sky Germany are saying we're the only club to have made concrete contact with Leipzig so far. United are interested, but have not yet negotiated. We're the only team to have had contact on both sides, people. So yeah, Berta has all the information regarding the release clause, payment structures, and all of that kind of stuff. So We'll have to see. This article has said Arsenal could reportedly sign both Gyökeres and Šeško this summer, although it's likely that only one new striker will join the club in the 2025-26 season. You reckon? It says Arteta is determined to bring a centre forward in. Currently, we're in talks with both players and are expected to finalize a deal for one of them at some point over the next few weeks. While landing Gyökeres and Šeško is highly unlikely, Darmstadt has revealed that a double deal would be financially possible for the Gunners. Financially, I think both Šeško and Gyökeres are deals Arsenal could do, but we're told internal discussions are currently about which one of the two strikers to prioritize. There's clearly a long-standing interest in Šeško. Arsenal explored whether a deal for the Leipzig striker was possible in January, but did not get any further. Gyökeres is a name that won't go away. He's another one in demand, having scored 92 goals in 102 games. Factors that will be weighed up by Arsenal are transfer fees and wages, but also profile and age. Having only just turned 22, Šeško is considerably younger than Gyökeres, who's about to turn 27. While not impossible, I'd be surprised if they sign both. So, yeah, the article did me there, and it didn't really know much. We've explored both deals, and we're ready to move in either direction. Martin Zubimendi says he is expecting a different and long summer with the midfielder, a long-term target for Arsenal. Of course, there are options, but it's true. It seems like it's going to be a different long summer, and I don't know how it will end. I'm not thinking about that now. That's not my priority. I'm here with the national team, which I think is already quite demanding. And if I have to say something, then I will. Then he went on to say, it's an example of what surrounds football. Many times I wake up in the morning and read things that I didn't know I'd done. That was a clear example. It's true that I don't take it very seriously. But anyways, I uploaded those photos to emphasize a little bit that it wasn't exactly the reality of what was happening. Fair enough, people. And then he's always on Xabi Alonso. I've always said that Alonso, is my idol. And for me, it was lucky that he was able to coach me in the reserve team in a very important year. The following year, I was already in the first team. And while I don't like to talk about hypothesis, I prefer to talk about the present, which is true. We've gone over that, people. Again, this article came out of Spain. Will it let me translate? Because this is where his actual interview has come out. And, you say things, it's down to interpretation. Are you going to Google Translate for me? We'll come back to that because I don't think it is. The ITKs of this world are saying Martin Zubimendi will be joining Arsenal Football Club pending a medical. Stop reacting to everything and anything. Zubimendi admits debunking Arsenal claim as he issues update. That's probably the same thing we've seen already, folks. Again, Gunner Blog did say yesterday the deal for Zubimendi to Arsenal is effectively agreed pending a medical. However, confirmation may not be made until July, as Real Sociedad have expressed this preference due to accounting purposes. How far do you think that is as well, people? How far do you think that goes? I don't know, man. I don't know. But it feels to me Zubimendi's been a bit diplomatic. Arsenal are keen on Anthony Gordon, Williams, and Rodrigo. Believe it when I see it, mate. Believe it when I see it. Jorginho set to undergo a medical with Flamengo on Friday as his announced move has gone. As you know, in wide areas, we've been linked with Leroy Sané. Our coaching staff are admirers of Rodrigo, but it's going to cost too much. We like Gordon. We like Nico Williams. It's probably a myth there. Apparently, Atletico Madrid have begun initial talks with Nico Williams to renew his contract. Discussions include a deal that would increase his current 58 million release clause and push the player's salary towards 10 million a year. And that's further confirmation here. Yesterday, you did hear Chelsea were the front runners, and then you hear about Arsenal. We're in the market for a goalkeeper. We are not getting Garcia. It seems like he's getting Barcelona. We've been linked with Timber's brother, Quinton Timber. Whether you believe that or not, it's your business. Experienced goalkeeper Walter Benitez apparently is on the verge of a Premier League move. The 32-year-old is a free agent. Apparently, a major Premier League club is unknown. That's in for him. Would it be too far-fetched to assume that that's Arsenal? I don't know. Speaking of goalkeepers, West Ham are considering making a move for Aaron Ramsdale, so there must be a percentage owed to us. Ollie Watkins moving to Arsenal has not been discounted entirely, but the club do have reservations on the price. Sources close to Rodrigo state he wants to speak to Xabi Alonso and the club before making a decision on his future. We've heard that already. We've gone over that. Nothing there for us. Gyökeres, he's insisted that no decision has been made on his future. Barcelona allegedly interested. Oh, this is the same thing. We'll see. Nobody knows anything yet. I wish I had more of a fun answer, but that's all I can say for now. Tired of hearing about Šeško and Gyökeres, if I'm brutally honest, man. Like, link up, just give me a new player's picture to put in my thumbnails and in the title, man. It's boring now. I can't decide. Arsenal player wants moved to specific club, all down to the Gunners. Lokonga. It's been a season with a lot of bad luck. I've done everything possible to be ready and prepared. I think it's harder mentally. There have been 4 or 5 injuries this year. I've done more specific work to find out what's wrong with my hamstring, what areas I need to work on. I can't tell you everything, but it's the reason I went. I don't know what my future holds, but if Sevilla can, I want to stay here. There are many things I can't decide. I have a 1-year contract with Arsenal and all options are open. Brother, stay over there then. Sevilla, buy someone. Let's get a talented young player, that Agami guy. Lokonga must knock about 50 million off the price tag. I've said it often. I want to defend this badge. Now there are many things coming out that I can't choose. The situation with Arsenal, the money Arsenal is going to ask for, Sevilla's situation, and whether they can pay Arsenal. My contract, there are many things I can't decide. Apparently, we've extended his contract, as some of you have seen. Some of you wanted Inzaghi at Arsenal. You're going to be disappointed because he seems to be going to Saudi Arabia, and Cesc Fabregas could become Inter Milan manager, people. We've gone over this as well. I don't believe this, but apparently Arsenal face Man City and Barcelona threat as superpowers IMAX Dolman. Naturally, he's a talented player. I'm sure they're going to want to tempt a very talented player that's probably going to be away in pre-season, done well for England at youth level, captained the under-18s, and played for England in the under-17s Euro, which was a disappointing collective campaign, and is only 15. And Arteta said he'd be part of the first team in some capacity. Man City and Barcelona have expressed an interest. Barca right here at City, you probably will still make it, but you're going to be one of many there. He only turned 15 in December, so he turned 16 later this year. Sources close to the situation suggest both clubs have made initial approaches to signal their interest in Dalman, aware of the long-term potential he holds. Barcelona, who have continued to prioritize youth recruitment through their famed La Masia network, are said to admire his style and see him as a natural fit for their possession-based philosophy. They're at a major disadvantage because he cannot join them until he turns 18 unless his parents relocate. And that's obviously not the case with Man City, but apparently Arsenal are confident of retaining him and are fully aware of the situation and remain relaxed about the situation. They believe they have the right structure, pathway, and philosophy in place to help Dalman thrive, and are committed to integrating him into the long-term plans under Arteta. Club insiders view Dalman as one of the standout talents of his age group, undoubtedly, and a potential homegrown star of the future. There's a clear ambition at Arsenal to turn him into a first-team regular in the years ahead. He listens to Mans Malone, so big him up. Mirroring the progress of the likes of Saka and Wanyeri, why have you not put Miles Lewis-Skelly and actually Nelson and Iwobi and Smith-Rowe and Joe Willock, players that, and Balogun, whether they're here or not, but okay, who have both emerged from academy ranks to feature at senior level? While Dalman is still in the early stages of his development, Arsenal's intent is clear: fend off European giants and build the next generation of Gunner superstars from within. Fair enough. How long before we're linked with Glimando? He's apparently linked with Barcelona and obviously Real Madrid, and we need a left back. We've agreed our first departure. Marquinhos has left. We're set to bank over 2.5 million from him joining Caruso. So what's that, 500 grand loss for the 22-year-old? Eddie, you need to tell us that this was a brown envelope, man, because that's the only way this move makes sense. We have been linked with Morgan Gibbs-White, and he's been linked with City. This has said a move is now unlikely following City signing Rangers. So is Morgan Gibbs-White's free for all? And we've already gone over the fact Rodrigo hasn't made up his mind. And, you know, Arsenal, Chelsea, and City are apparently all interested. Hansi Flick suggested signing Ademola Lookman. His price could be around 60 million euros, but sources say he could be sold for around 30 million euros. We getting that done? I'm on that for 30 million. Pardon me. Arsenal throwing lifeline in race to sign next Odegaard after club present to family. Apparently, it's Nepan's move to Villa has hit the rocks. Fair enough. Villa made a strong effort to convince him. So why doesn't he want to go there now? And it could cost 10 mil. But if you turned us down already, why are we going to go back in for you again? And once again, Garcia apparently turns down bigger Man City, Arsenal, and Newcastle offers to accept Barca deal. Is there any confirmation we bidded this year? Apparently, Sane isn't interested in joining Spurs, and Arsenal the only club that appealed to him in the Premier League, according to a report in Germany. There are also concrete offers from Saudi Arabia and Turkey, with the player seriously considering such. So I don't know, man. It's the same old, same old. It'd be nice to see some new names, man. But that appears to be all the transfer news. Rodrigo, Leao, Lookman, who are you picking? Rodrigo. Then Lookman. Dude, why are you flanking on Arteta? What are you talking about? What does flanking mean? You're gonna say what flanking mean. What relevance is there to like? You're gonna have to explain yourself if you want me to answer. Ajax. Isaac versus Jesus 2.0. We went with Jesus and turned down the potential. Turned out to be the best striker on the land. Get both, sell Havertz. and Jesus, everyone's happy. Dang. Dalman's a baller. You only tell me, my boy. He's 15 though. Let him cook. It's quality. Lookman's ready now. 30, if it's 30 mil, I'm having Lookman, you know. 60, I'm a bit. I wouldn't cry, but 27, 28. Has had some highs and lows in his career. Returns back to these shores twice the player he was. Can play up front, can play off the left, can deputize on the right. Might have a positive chip on his shoulder because, you know, obviously he done his thing for Nigeria, scored a hat-trick in the Europa League final, bagged against Real Madrid, but he's not really known for his time in England. I always think of Lookman at Charlton. Negatively, you could point towards Everton or that horrible penalty against Fulham. I'm having for 30 mil. If that was true, I'm on that. 1,000,000% I'm on that. 1,000,000,000,000,000,000% I'm down for the cause. Dembele ain't a striker, but he's an elite footballer and dribbler on the ball. And they got another 3 players who can win you a game individually. We have one in Saka, which ain't enough. Yeah, I don't know what he's on, bro. Like, I don't know what Wesley's on, but I find it funny because according to some, I'm an Arteta sexual. Then I hate Arteta. You just have to let people talk, man. People draw what conclusions they want. It's not making sense. Arsenal finishing 3rd next season. Darwin, go away, mate. Go away, man. We are signing Sane for sure. I did a deep dive on why Arteta does these things. I feel he wants to pull off a big one with no notable star, so he gets all the praise for being a genius. Make sure you do it. If you don't do it, boy, man, I have to stop trying to reinvent the wheel, man. Dalman gets more minutes than Wanyeri next year. He's 15, bro. Relax. We are not signing Sane. I would listen. If any football club has shown me anything can happen, it's going to be Arsenal. Anything is possible, man. With that being said, though, I'm just conscious of the time, and we've been here for 1 hour and 41 minutes. I'm sure you lot are bored of hearing my voice. The good news is I'm going to be back at around 4 p.m. people with Kenny Ken and DJB. So when I set that live stream up, come ask us some questions, come be part of it. Not really sure what we're going to speak about. I guess we could talk about the Šeško, Gyökeres stuff and whatnot, and Zubimendi. And apart from that, I don't know. But we'll be here, man. Again, big up yourselves, the silent viewers, those of you participating. If you've liked and you've commented and you just have subscribed. Have we got 100 likes? Of course we do, man. So extra big up yourself if you smash the like button, man. And I'll see you lot again in a few moments. Always